What's up YouTube, and welcome to this video in which I'll be giving my expectations for the upcoming Ipswich Town season. Now we'll start with the most important man at the club, the boss. Mick McCarthy is coming into his third full season at the club, and since he's joined he's done fantastic work. Cast your mind back to the 2012-2013 season and Ipswich were in trouble. Manager Paul Jewell was struggling and the Tractor Boys were rooted at the bottom of the table. Jewell left by mutual consent and Mick McCarthy was the man to replace him. In his debut game, the Tractor Boys ended a 12-match winless run. He helped them pick up results and by the end of the season they were 14th. Again, Mick McCarthy was strong in the 2013-14 season, but it was really last season where he hit his stride. Before the start of the season, very few people would have recommended Ipswich as one of the promotion favourites. We didn't have a lot of money at the club and that meant getting players in was a real struggle. Nevertheless, Mick McCarthy and his faithful assistant Terry Connor did some great work on and off the field. The team eventually finished in the playoff places, only to be knocked out by their bitter rivals Norwich City. But McCarthy's history shows that it's not always a bad thing to lose a playoff game. He's achieved promotion twice before, once with Sunderland and once with Wolves. During his time at those two clubs, he managed to reach the playoff twice, and again he lost both of those playoffs. But history shows that after he lost those playoff games, he managed to secure automatic promotion. A year after losing the playoff game with Sunderland, the next year they were champions, and 2 years after Wolves lost, they were champions. Some managers would think getting the playoffs is enough, and they would be happy with that, but this shows that Mick McCarthy always wants to build on that. This is a good omen for Ipswich, and they can be considered contenders for the title. Now, the real star of last season was Darren Murphy. He turned into an absolute goal machine, one we hadn't seen at the club for a few years. He found the net 25 times and he was the top scorer in the whole country. The Irishman's goals fired Ipswich up the table and he was a vital player in securing that playoff place. While Murphy was firing up front, there were plenty of goals in other areas. Christoph Berra was always a danger at corners and he managed to bag a few goals for himself. But for me, I would like to see the midfielders score more as well. They scored just 14% of the team's goals last season, and I would really like them to build on that. In a recent interview, midfielder Teddy Bishop said they had been working on this duty, so hopefully that pays off in the new season. I'd also like to see the midfield contribute more assists. Paul Anderson was the midfielder that provided most assists, but he's been let go this summer. This is an area I really think we can improve on for this season. Personally, I'd like to see a player of creativity brought in. Don't get me wrong, we do have good midfielders. Cole Scouse is a controlling factor in that midfield, and youngster Teddy Bishop is a really exciting prospect at the club. But I would like to see some more creativity introduced. Too often we would see the East Anglia club seem to run out of ideas against well-organised defences. A bit of creativity would help to break down these defences. An introduction of some creativity would hopefully turn 0-0 draws into a 1-0 win for the town. But if a creative player is brought in, he has to have the right work ethic. A vital part of Mick McCarthy's team is the fact that the whole squad bonds together and all works as one. If you bring in a creative player who's not really going to put his effort in, the team will suffer for that. Saying that, the club has managed to sign Ainsley Maitland-Niles from Arsenal recently. If you've seen any of those YouTube videos on him, you would see that he is a technically good player. Someone like that on the wing will help the Blues, and I for one am excited to see what he does this season. Another signing I'm excited about is Brett Pitman. Pitman was great for Bournemouth last season, and it's an excellent signing. He's already scored 2 goals in the pre-season friendly last week, and his combinations look good. I can see him scoring a lot of goals this season, and I think a good target for him would be to reach double digits. Now, we can't talk about transfers in without talking about the players who've also left the club. The big transfer of the summer so far for Town is that Tyrone Mings has left. It was always a thought at the back of your mind during last season, as clubs like Arsenal and Chelsea were sniffing round him. But for the club to actually get $8 million for him is a great deal, bearing in mind they signed him for £10,000 just a few years ago. He's gone to Bournemouth and I wish him all the best. And you can't exactly have a go at McCarthy, because if $8 million's offered, you're going to take it. Luckily we already have Johnny Parr who can fill in as cover there. And McCarthy has previously talked about how Parr would have been first choice if Mings didn't have such a good season. While the left back position is sorted, I would also want to see a new right back brought in. Luke Chambers is a great player and an even better captain, but he's always looked like a centre back. He was sort of pushed out to the right as we really lacked some depth back there. But now that we're doing well, I can see us bringing in a proper right back, and then move Chambers into the centre and rotate him with Tommy Smith to play alongside Christoph Berra. Now, I am a firm believer in the potential of Teddy Bishop. I think he's got all the attributes to be a great player, and I would really want him to see him up his game this season. I hope that he evolves into the centre of the team so that he has more influence on the ball. I think this season will be a big one for him. Despite only just turning 19, he has all the qualities to play at this level, and I'm expecting a big season from him. Another one of those important players in my eyes is Freddie Sears. Sears looks to be a great player, having just joined in January from Colchester. Despite only playing half the season, he was the second top scorer at the club, bagging 9 goals and 4 assists. With a full pre-season under his belt, I really expect him to be the top scorer this season. He worked well with Murphy, and he said recently that he's enjoyed playing with Pitman. Let's not forget David McGoldrick's also there. He's been really unlucky with injuries in the last few seasons, but when he is fit, he's one of the town's best players, and his style of play brings others into the game. I'm excited to see his link between Pitman and Sears, and I hope Mick McCarthy can find a way of playing all three at the same time. While Murphy did have a great season last season, you have to wonder if he'll be able to do that again. He's 32 now, and it would be hard to see him scoring 25 league goals again. The strikers were very good last season, scoring on average 1.57 goals a game. This is higher than the league's average of 1.34. It shows promising signs that we are above the average, and I hope that continues into this season. Now, talking about all the goals scored makes you think about the goals conceded. The town on average conceded 1.17 goals a game, compared to the league's average of 1.34. That's very impressive, and it was largely thanks to the fantastic season that Christoph Berra had. He's now evolved into one of the best players at the club, and one of the most important. He was the rock in that back four, and he was a strong reason why Ipswich was so hard to break down. But the stat shows that the majority of goals conceded were during the 76 to 90 minute mark. This is an area that can be improved to make sure the concentration doesn't slip during a vital part of the game. If they cut that out, more points are bound to follow. I'm very optimistic about the club's chances for next season. I think we have a very good squad, and one of the best managers in Mick McCarthy, and one of the best assistant managers in Terry Connor. I think the season will be defined by the importance of 4 players. Christoph Berra needs to continue being the defensive wall, while I hope to see Cole Scouse continue to dominate play in the midfield. I want Teddy Bishop to evolve into the main playmaker at the club, and I also expect to see Freddie Sears evolve into one of the best goal scorers in the league. I'm going to do an optimistic prediction of 2nd place. I think anything in the top 6 is a success, but I really want to see us push on from last season, and I do think we have the squad to do that. So that's the fans' view of the upcoming season. Thanks for watching.